now to when I was pregnant and carry on reading. And this sounds like a bit of a stupid thing to say, but some of it's in poetry and some of it's prose, just normal like diary entries. And sometimes, not that I assume that you would clap after each poem or diary entry, but sometimes people don't know whether to clap if it's a poem or don't know whether the poem's finished if I start in prose. And then one person claps and no one else does and they feel like a knob. So I'd say just don't worry about clapping. Apart from maybe when I say this is my last poem, and then if you could clap after that one, that would make me not cry for the rest of the day. Thanks. All right. Oh. What? I just said don't clap. Thanks. All right. 28th of October, 5 months pregnant. I'm starting to regret having signed up to these online pregnancy updates. One email every week since week 8 telling us what stage of development the baby should be, telling me what to eat, how to look chic whilst pregnant, and on and on. Today, the baby should be the size of a large banana apparently. Last month it was a medium-sized aubergine. The first time I got the update it was a cherry. I imagined a maraschino stuck on the side of a massive cocktail I cannot drink anymore. I bought a fruit bowl from the market today, thinking it would turn our flat's tiny kitchen into the sort of cottage where Italian families sit around a big wooden table and share homemade tagliatelle together. I don't know if all Italian families do this or even like tagliatelle, but the ones with large kitchens and wooden tables I imagine might. I used to have a recurrent dream when I was a teenager of a naked baby tunneling through vineyards shouting "Mama" at me. I think it was after watching repeats of A Place in the Sun or a Dormio advert maybe. If I'm honest, it's likely a backlash from my teenage obsession with watching the film Stealing Beauty on repeat from the age of 14 to 16. A film in which a teenage girl loses her virginity by an old tree in Italy. I fucking loved that film. More than was healthy. I wrote heaps of terrible, terrible poems about how I was the last leaf on that olive tree just waiting to be plucked or swept away in the warm Italian breeze. The worst lines I remember are possibly, I'm an ice cube waiting to melt. I'm a flower waiting to be smelt. Basically, I just wanted to shag in a vineyard, and I hid it in bad and pretty easy to decode metaphors. I've still never been to Italy, and I now realise the film is as bad as my poems with one of the worst titles I've ever heard. But back then, for me, it was the shit. Anyway, I bought the bowl. The market craftswoman was pregnant too, and when I bought the bowl, she cried, looked me in the eyes and wept. I thought she was crying because I was her only customer for the day, the week, the month, maybe, battling with Habitat Factory-made fruit bowls, but maybe she was actually thinking that day, your baby should be as big as a banana by now. Your sickness may calm down now. Your stomach should be sore now. You should feel more tired now. You should put on a pound a week now. You may be more forgetful now. You should think about your finance now. You should consider birth class now. You should book your next scan now. You should start pelvic exercises now. You should clench between each wee now. You must clench between each wee now. You should get the maternity leave form now and fill it in and hand it to your boss now. You have to tell your boss now. You should start thinking about names for the baby now. You should decide whether or not you're going to use disposable or cotton or semi-disposable or eco-company nappies now. You should try to keep the baby happy now. Play the baby classical music now. Classical music will make your baby brainy now. No Mr. Whoopi ice cream now. You might have trouble weeing now. It might be hard to reach around. You should pack your birth bag now. Pack your hospital bag now. You should buy sanitary pads now. You should buy birth pads now. You should buy breast leak pads now. You should buy big pants now. I mean really big pants now. You shouldn't sleep on your back now or your right hand side now, and sleep may be uncomfortable now, and you may wake in the night now and your rib cages may ache now, and your left arm and shoulder blade and leg may hurt a little now, and you may think about buying a sculpted pregnant woman cushion now instead, but don't do too much. Remember to relax. Stress can be very harmful for your baby. Maybe she was thinking that your baby should be as big as a banana by now. 5th of November, 5¼ months pregnant. The midwife visited today. She's a total gem, fucking obsessed with ice cream. She keeps talking about it. The particular conversation today went, her, how are you? It's really nice to have someone visit just to ask me this. Me, yeah, fine, thanks. Her, have you remembered the list of no-go foods? Me, yeah, I've got it. She ignores this comment and starts to list them again. Seafood, certain cheeses, red meat, Mr. Whoopi ice cream. She stops at this last one, pauses and repeats it. No, Mr. Whippy ice cream. She's already told me this. I know I can't have Mr. Whippy ice cream. I don't get the option that often anyhow, I tell her again. No problem. She then stares deep into my eyes, as if she's about to reveal to me why I'm on this huge spinning planet and the purpose of bringing another life onto it. She leans in, puts her hand on my shoulder, and says, "Don't worry though, you can have Tesco ice cream. Any tub, any flavour. It's only Mr. Whippy that you cannot have." 15th of February, 8 3/4 months pregnant. Today is a good day. I'm alone. I feel better when I'm alone. I can chat to you properly. I took you to my favourite spot today and stared out over the water. Finally, everything is quiet. The ducks, the trees, my mind. The sun is reflected in the water, heating my cheeks through the frost. I hope you're listening. This outside world is very exciting, you know. It's definitely the place to be. I can't wait to introduce you to it. Snow baby. The snow will be gone when you come, baby. The ice will be melting away. A springtime bloom will be waiting for you as soon as you come out to play. When you open your eyes, there'll be flowers, branches bloomed into hues. The bees will be back, the petals are tapped, and the honey will melt around you. The white will be split when you come, baby. The colours splintered through rain. This blanket of snow with its one palette show will melt in a rainbow of pain. The cold will be gone when you come, baby. Just a warm little cooling down breeze. The leaves on the trees will get minty and green and the rivers run back to the seas. The thaw will be here when you come, baby. The animals peeping through dirt. Daffodils trumpeting gateways to parks as you open your ears to this earth. The land will be soft when you sit, baby. The grass grown through daisy chain seats. The sun will be bright. The heat will be light as you lie in the shade of the trees. The snow will be gone when you come, baby. Right now it's a blanket of pearls. So just rest for a bit. Put your feet up and sit till the buds break the frost and unfurl. The freeze will be gone when you come, baby. The glittering, frost-biting tracks. So grow strong with the spring, and when next winter sings, you can run out and marvel at that. 8th of March, 9 months and 8 days pregnant, 4 a.m. I woke Dee up at 2 a.m. as I think I'm having contractions. Whisper shakily in his ear and he leaps out of bed quicker than I've ever seen, shouting in tired slurs, "Fuck, cool, I'll get the car keys." I go to the toilet and realise I just needed a poo. Embarrassing. He goes back to sleep laughing. It's the second time I've done it this week. I tuck 2 pillows back under my belly and try to sleep, but it's pretty impossible these days. People keep saying, "Get some sleep now, Holly, you won't get any when the baby's here." Funny, you tried to sleep with a lead basketball attached to your backbone. I watch another film with a smiling couple who announce, "We are pregnant." I cannot stand that phrase anymore. I scream at the man on the telly, "You are not fucking pregnant. You have no fucking idea, you smug twat, and your linen shirt looks shite." He doesn't hear me. Dee and I are having a baby. Dee is not pregnant. We're both agreed on that now. Waiting for contractions feels a bit like waiting for Christmas. It's exciting. I have no idea what contractions will actually be like. I'm just waiting, awake, waiting for an intense pain to come, waiting for the complete unknown and a complete change of life. "If you can still talk on the phone," says the midwife, "those aren't contractions. Contractions are too painful to talk through," she says. Great, thanks. So I'll just wait then. Just wait for a pain so strong I cannot talk. Right, waiting. Waiting. Is that it starting? No. Be brave. Breathe. I can't sleep. I stare out of the window at the stars and I cry. I am petrified. Waiting. 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 12th of March. 9 months, 2 weeks. 24 hours in labour, 7 birthing positions, 2 parents, 1 baby, 4 hours old, 10 a.m. First thoughts after birth. I wrote about 14 first thoughts, but I'll just pick out a few to read out. First thoughts after birth. Number 1, Salt and Pepper's Push It was not as funny on the birthing CD as I'd hoped it would be. It didn't work in the same way planned. Number 4, I had a good birth. I know that and I'm so bloody grateful. The midwife was the best, most peaceful supporter I could have ever wished for. Dee was brilliant, and everything is okay. But when the doctor came in after labour and ticked the hospital form box, which was labelled normal, uncomplicated, I felt like punching him in the face. Uncomplicated? You fucking think so, do you? You fucking try it then. I think they should change the wording on hospital form. At least add a well done or something. No. Number 5. I think I have joined a secret club. Why did no one tell me this stuff before? I phone up my grandma, the politest lady I've ever known. I expect her to cry with joy at the news of a new great-grandchild. She lets out a huge sigh of relief. Oh, Holly, she says, I'm so glad you're okay. Fucking horrendous, isn't it? My auntie, teacher at a local primary school, simply says, shitting a watermelon? Number 6. When the baby was born, she immediately crawled up the brown magic line drawn on my belly by my skin and started sucking milk out of my nipple. Unbelievable. How did she know how to do that? She's a genius. I cry a bit more because it's all going well. I feel a bit like a cow, a bit weird, a holy Hindu cow though, the most grateful cow on the planet. Number 7. I will never ever do another poo. I was quite adamant about this one at the time of writing. I remember pushing the pen quite heavily onto the piece of paper. I will never push anything out of my body ever again. I don't know how this will affect my digestive system, but I will just have to cope. I'm told I need to do a wee in the hospital room before I can leave, but I will not. I will never do another wee or another poo, never, ever, ever, never again. Number 10. Dee has just phoned his mum, gran, aunts, cousins, and every other mother in his family. Firstly, to tell them he has a healthy baby. Secondly, to congratulate them all for giving birth. Seriously, I hear him say, well done, Grandma. 7 though, Grandma. He's in shock. Me too. His newfound respect for mothers is immense. Mine as well. I hear him congratulating them all over the telephone. Thanks, Mum. No, really, thanks, Mum. Well done, Holly, he says. He looks at me, holding the baby against his chest. We've got a baby, he says, as if I didn't know. And he cries. And I cry again too. I think I'm crying out of love now, but I'm not sure. I'm really tired. The baby is the only person not crying. The bravest one of us all. Number 15, opposite man. He's the opposite of what the article said. It said reconsider Dad's place at the hospital bed. Nemesis to generations gone of vents spouting the same old songs of woman's instincts, maternal minds. Through male and macho crap you shine. Dripping energy onto my tongue in bottled drinks and calming songs as shivers took my body hold and vessels burst in birthing groans. You grabbed her, you cleaned her first, you cut the cord, you saw the worst, or as you seemed to say, the best a man could ever see. Grandad didn't dare, told to sit outside with concerned stares. Puffing smoke to passing ticks, no concept of what woman did. You stand opposite to history. The sights, how like some crowned glory, while other men brush off and say that gory birth is not their taste. I feel the pain is soothed by praise. You brag about my strength today. The things I really want to shout, but I'm told a lady won't let out. As women undermine themselves, underplay the pain they felt. We need more men like you to tell the tale of what we all go through. You're the opposite of what the article said, that men shouldn't be in a hospital bed. Because you calmed me, laughed through a room full of pain, and now you shout out the strengths that I'm not meant to claim. But the last poem I wrote in the hospital was for another guy whose wife or girlfriend or whatever had also just given birth, but she'd given birth to their second child, and they had a toddler with them, and she'd just gone through labour, same as me, and she'd finally fallen asleep, and he woke her up, and she sort of said to him, why did you wake me up in that kind of, that if it had been the US maybe and she'd have had a gun, maybe shot him in the foot or somewhere, non-fatal, but he said, you know, I just don't do nappies. So he woke her up to change their toddler's nappy basically after she'd just given birth. And me and my partner at the time were just like, she's gonna fucking kill him, she's gonna kill him. Listening to him in the hospital room. So this is a poem that I wrote for that man, and this is the last thing I wrote in hospital, and it's called Poo. I don't do nappies, spouts from this man's mouth. And I'm awake when I should sleep because the fire won't go out. Flames burn in my belly, angry tears to cheek at the sexist fucking attitude that baby care can bring. He said he just doesn't do nappies. He said he just doesn't like the poo. As if women, wives and mothers naturally fucking do. And after, all the worry that the baby mother went through, crying, rocks and cuddles is as much as he will do. She carries it for 9 months in morning sickness reigns. Body morphs as baby grows and back grows, intense pains. Fearing any move she makes might affect the child inside her. No alcohol, no drugs at all, constant worries grind her. Then labour pain, sometimes for days, and childbirth, there's no words to say. The movie, horror, beauty, gaze of how it feels for her that way as nature has its way. And well, okay, I'll just won't go that way, but let's just say that others may. I won't forget the strain today. Then they take the kid back home. Her belly sags and boobs explode. A milk machine, life-giving throne, breast cramp each time the baby groans. Nipples leak and stitches stick. Discomfort like no one can give. And after this, on top of it, she waits each 3 hours to feed the kid. And after all that women do, he says, oh no, I don't like poo. If you were mine, here's what I'd do. Forget the kid, I'll poo on you. Is everybody okay? Yeah, all right, thanks very much. Okay, I'm going to just carry on. I'm just going to do 2 poems now, which are like, they're on the same topic, but one of them I wrote when my daughter was a day old and I went home from the hospital and I wrote it on the couch. And then the next poem I wrote 6 months later on a public toilet seat in Cambridge, basically, when my daughter was, when she was about 6 months old. So this is the first one, 14th of March, 1 day old. I sit on the settee, and he kisses our heads and leaves. And from 2 a.m. to 6 a.m, baby, it's just you and me. As you abseil down my chest like a miniature rock climber, hands grip tightly, push off from my shoulder blade cliffs. You career from left to right, mind focused, eyes open, no waterproofs or harness, just a purple baby grow. You stop, grunting for assistance, I see panic setting in, until quick fingers grope the spot and you fling your head across the sky to your chosen side and land. Lips clamped and drink. Then you fall asleep from the exertion. My hungry extreme sports baby, abseil down me anytime. 6 months old, 2:56 p.m. on a toilet seat in Cambridge. I will not do this ever again. Not one more dirty toilet feed. Breathe in, Hollie. Dee was right. Don't worry about it. You're feeding our baby, Hollie. That's all you're doing. I'm so tired of this. All it boils down to is that people here feel uncomfortable seeing the sucking, because we've been trained that sucking a nipple is a sexual thing, which it can be for sure. But our bodies have so many uses. Every inch of our bodies can be sexual or not. I put a tampon in the same place I have smear tests and sometimes have drawn a hard penis into. I do not confuse the three. They do not feel the same. I do not think I'm shagging a tampon or that my boyfriend is doing a swab on me. I'm sick of pretending I would rather feed in peace and private just because we're so awkward about sex and nerves and bodies and feelings in this country. I wish it was summer again. She is so damn lovely. Sorry kids, you don't have to eat on the toilet anymore or in the dark. You can eat where every other human being eats. Embarrassed. I thought it was okay. I could understand the reasons. They said there might be young children or a nervous man seeing this small piece of flesh that they weren't quite expecting. So I whispered and tiptoed with nervous discretion. But after 6 months of her life sat sitting on lids, sipping on milk, nostrils sniffing on piss, trying not to bang her head on toilet roll dispensers, I wonder whether these public loo feeds offend her. Because I'm getting tired of discretion and being polite. As my baby's first sips are drowned, drenched in shite, I spent the first feeding months of her beautiful life feeling nervous and awkward and wanting everything right. Surrounded by family till I stepped out the house. It took me 8 weeks to get the confidence to go into town. Now the comments around me cut like a knife as I rush into toilet cubicles, feeling nothing like nice. Because I'm giving her milk that's not in a bottle. Wishing the cocaine generation white powder would topple. I see pyramid sales pitches across our green globe and female breasts banned, unless they're out just for show. And the more I go out, the more I can't stand it. I walk into town, feel I'm surrounded by bandits, because in this country of billboards covered in tits, and family newsagent magazines full of it. W.H. Smith top shells out for men, why don't you complain about them then? In this country of billboards covered in tits, and family newsagent magazines full of it. W.H. Smith, top shelves out for men. I'm getting embarrassed in case a small flash of flesh might offend. And I don't want to parade this. I'm not trying to make a show. But when I'm told I'd be better just staying at home. And when another friend I know is thrown off a bus and another mother told to get out of a pub, even my grandma said maybe I was sexing it up. And I'm sure the milk makers love all this fuss, all the cussing and worry and looks of disgust as another mother turns from nipples to powder, ashamed or embarrassed by comments around her as I hold her head up and pull my cardi across, and she sips on the liquor made by everyone's God. I think for God's sake Jesus drank it. So did Siddhartha, Muhammad and Moses and both of their fathers, Ganesh and Shiva and Brigid and Buddha, and I'm sure they weren't doing it sniffing on shit as their mothers sat embarrassed on cold toilet lids in a country of billboards covered in tits, in a country of low-cut tops, cleavage and skin, in a country of cloth bags and recycling bins. And as I'm desperately trying to take all of this in, I hold her head up. I can't get my head round the anger towards us and not to the sound of lorries offloading formula milk into countries where water runs dripping in filth, in towns where breasts are oases of life, now dried up in 2-for-1 offers enticed by labels and logos and gold standard rights claiming breast milk is healthier, powdered and white, packaged and branded and sold at a price so that nothing is free in this money-fueled life, which is fine if you need it or prefer to use bottles where water is clean and bacteria boiled. But in towns where they drown in pollution and sewage, bottled kids die and they knew that they do it. In towns where pennies are savoured like sweets, we're now paying for one thing that has always been free. In towns empty of hospital beds, babies die, diarrhea-fueled that breast milk would end. So no more will I sit on these cold toilet lids, no matter how embarrassed I feel as she sips. Because in this country of billboards, covered in tits, I think I should try to get used to this. Thanks very much. All right, 18th of September, 6¼ months old, 11 p.m, sex. It is now over 6 months and I'm still not really up for it. I'm starting to feel guilty. I feel like the 2 top erogenous zones in my body are now no longer erogenous, or at least not nearly as much as they were. Please just touch me somewhere else, anywhere else, just not there. Not my breasts and not my crotch. Neck, back, thighs, arms, shoulders, feet, any of them, anywhere else. And it's awkward. I hate telling Dee to get off, to not touch my boobs, but when they're dripping milk and sore and well, I feel bad. He's so patient, but I know it must be wearing. Weird for guys. Today you can, not today. Today not my boobs. Today don't touch anything. It's horrible, confusing. But I just need my body back and then I'll figure it out again. At the 6-week checkup after birth, the nurse looked between my legs and said I was healing. And then she said, "You're okay to have sex again. You're okay to have sex again." And I thought, fuck you. What the nurse meant was, you can now insert a penis into your vagina without any negative post-birth related health effects. That does not mean I'm ready to have sex. That doesn't mean I want to have sex. My vagina is okay, maybe, thank you for that. My head, no. And sex isn't just a penis in the vagina, no matter what Victorian sex education still teaches us. Sometimes I think I'm overreacting about all this. Then I think it would be like if a guy had his penis slowly inflated over a period of 9 months, then bashed with a hammer for 30 hours until it ripped. Then it bled for 8 weeks, and his nipples swelled, cracked, became baby toys. And then on top of all the pain and frustration, he felt constantly guilty for not really feeling in the mood. While every image from society told him how unsexy his new body and bashed penis was. But I do feel sorry for him, and I do feel guilty, because it's been a while now since I knew what was going on. We keep visiting a friend who tells me how horny she was when she was pregnant, and how she can't wait to get back to it after birth. Know what I mean, she says. I smile, and imagine beating her over the head with a wet fish. My body is not my own anymore. It has hands on it all of the time, and the last thing I want is more hands on me when the baby is resting. For that shit, I do want his hands on me, I crave them too, but I want sleep more. A woman told me their relationship became so awkward that she made herself t-shirts so her husband could stop hanging around like a sensual criminal in the bedroom. There were 3 t-shirts which said, participatory, non-participatory, and no. Participatory if she was up for it, non-participatory if she was up for it but completely exhausted and so sleep-deprived she was unable to move, and then no if she didn't want to have sex. To be honest, I think the t-shirt should be put in the hospital pack rather than the baby lotions in Johnson's office. Anyway, 2:30 p.m. Breasts. No one talks about this. They whisper around it. With taboo torchlights, we stumble down it. I didn't read about it and I read a lot. Like writer's block, we stop at breasts. A naked chest and my breaths are sickened. They feed her, he feels them, and my nerve endings quicken in panic. I'm trying to manage the 2 in one body. I've got 2 people each night and they're both wanting on me. As we sit down at 6, she sips like Siddhartha. My arms heat her belly and her lips sleep in laughter. Then after lights low, I hear Barry White melodies and step to the next room where he's waiting so patiently. From skin to skin baby to skin man. From staring at innocence to staring at pants, and it's hard. It's so hard now to transfer position. From one room to the next in one dim-lit partition, and I wish I could just split my body in 2. One boob for sex and the other to feed through. And they make you feel sick, and they make you feel strange. Friends asking questions like, when she's feeding, is the sensation the same? As her tiny hands tap at the skin on your breast, of course it's not similar to strokes felt in sex, and we stress that it's strange or it's weird or it's wrong when from lovely to lover our body moves on. And my brain took a long time to calm to the notion that my boyfriend's hands weren't planned as imposing. So I lay her to sleep, and I wipe off the milk, and I step to the next room for some innocent filth, in the middle of which her scream jolts me up, and I transform breasts once more between lover and love.